Tonight on The Beat, we have Governor Jay Inslee. Let's take a look at something he said in the wake of big gun control debates regarding Donald Trump.
Now, I understand you have suggested this, and we suggest things, and sometimes then we listen to people about it. Maybe they don't look so good a little later. So I just suggest we need a little less tweeting here, a little more listening, and let's just take that off the table and move forward.
All right, thank you very much. You know, we have a number of states right now that do that. And I think with that in mind, I'll call on Greg Abbott, great governor of Texas.
The debate there was arming teachers. Governor Jay Inslee is part of a state that has 10 different suits against the Trump administration and many of its policies, including immigration. And now, the governor of Washington State, also we should mention a potential 2020 candidate, joins me. Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You looked at that moment there. That was you face-to-face with the president, using that time to push him on something you thought was a bad idea. You think the national emergency apparently is a bad idea. Will it become another lawsuit from your state, and do you think that's the right way to approach it?
Well, the moment that Donald Trump hurts my state by taking appropriations away from useful projects and tries to use it on his wasteful vanity project on the border, you bet we'll be in court like we have been. And I'm proud our state has been first and foremost standing up against Donald Trump. We were the first, and I was the first governor to come out against the Muslim ban. We've been very active against his child separation policies. And all of us know the situation here. There is no national security emergency. There is just a political emergency. Donald Trump is in trouble. He took a shellacking at the polls, and now he's searching for a rescue on this wall. You bet we'll be vigorous.
And you are a border state. The president seems fixated on only certain border states. You just ticked off 3 policies that relate to immigration, the travel ban, the child separation, and we're talking national emergency. If you do run, and you said vanity project, other Democrats have used that language who are out already declared candidates this weekend, is this something that Democrats are going to seize on? Do you turn immigration against Donald Trump, and how?
Well, I think we could, but if I enter the race, it will not be my principal message. My principal message is that there is a real emergency that we face, and that is climate change. Look, I walked through Paradise, California, a town of 25,000 people, just burned right down to the foundations, and it looked like an apocalyptic scene. That is an emergency, and that is what we're going to see if we don't defeat climate change. So my principal message will be, we need to organize our energies and mobilize this nation like we did in defeating fascism, like we did in going to the moon. This is something I've been advocating for a long time. We even co-authored a book about it 10 years ago. So this is a message of economic growth while we're defeating climate change. That's a positive vision for America. That's what I'd run on.
Last time you were here, we spoke about a famous billionaire from your state, Howard Schultz, and some of his 1% policies. Amazon, which is in your state as well, is back in the news over what was going to be money from taxpayers to them in New York. What is your view? Should states be giving away this much money to corporations? Was it good that they left New York? Was it bad?
Well, I'm really glad to be in the party that believes that we should be helping the middle class, and there's nothing wrong on occasion for the ultra wealthy to be in a position to chip in a little more to help our public services. And I'm glad that we are looking at attitudes like that. I'm proposing a capital gains tax in my state to do that. Now, in regard to these corporate resettlements, if you will, I'll tell you one thing we need to stop. We need to find a way to prevent large corporations from essentially blackmailing local communities by threatening to move if they don't get these giant tax breaks.
Is that what Amazon was doing, in your view, Governor?
Well, I do know it has happened. I don't know the specifics of that, but I do know on multiple occasions, corporations have threatened to take thousands of jobs out of communities if they don't get a tax break. We need to find a mechanism to not allow communities to be threatened in that way. I've got some ideas about that using the tax code to protect our people.
Well, it's a huge issue. As I mentioned, there's so much going on and so many controversies. But that was an issue in New York, and New Jersey's now trying to welcome them. The question of should it be taxpayers that give money to billionaires, their owners in these companies? I'm sure it's going to be a live one on the 2020 trail. Governor Inslee, when you declare, will you let us know?
I'll call you, Ari. We like Seattle Mercer Island boys get the news.
All right. It's a Seattle reference. 206, represent Governor Inslee. Always good to see you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.